From your vantage point, I mean, you played TSM, you beat them this weekend as well. You've seen a lot of the wonky results that have happened all weekend long. What would your opinion be on who the second best team in the LCS is right now?
It could easily be 100 Thieves. Like I think out of all the teams we played, this game felt like they were the most like cohesive team that we played against this split.
This is ESPN Esports. I'm Arda Ocal. Happy to be joined by Licorice, who's the top laner for Cloud9. Cloud9 just shockingly earned their first loss of the summer split against 100 Thieves. Licorice, the conversation online right now is this is surprising given the team that you're playing against and in the manner that it happened. Just give us your thoughts from yourself and the team moments after this loss.
It was a really tough game for us to play. I think like basically what happened is we just didn't play as a team. And when we're like as a team, we always set the pace of the game. So I think like if we are going to lose, it's going to be like an explosive game with fighting everywhere because that's just how we play. And I don't know, we just didn't play like as a unit today.
Did you feel, take me after the draft, even, stepping onto the Rift for the first time, did you feel after the draft that there might have been a slight disadvantage there? I know particularly in jungle there might have been a concern, but what was your vantage point?
At the time coming out, I thought the draft was fine. Like top lane is like slightly favored for the Jace side, I think. I mean, it's a bit different when he takes Comet, which is something I'm just not used to seeing. But like the top lane matchup's fine. The Jarvan is really good at killing the Ashe Karma in the bot lane. That was kind of like our game plan, like play around the Wukong Senna, kill the Ashe Karma. So like coming out of Champ Select, I really thought that our draft was fine, but like they just had a lot of tools that they drafted and they were able to execute on their game plan really well.
I know that this similar situation happened last split with Cloud9 as well, right? Went on this long streak. People were talking 18-0, and then you lose to TSM in the spring. Now you lose to 100 Thieves, right? Does that take the weight off your shoulders a little bit? Just the idea that you don't have to worry about 18-0 and everybody talking about it now. Do you feel like you can exhale now a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like I talked about this a lot last split when it was like the first time we were going and we were like super dominant, like you said. And I was always talking about how going 18-0 like isn't actually a good goal for an organization. Like you just want to keep getting better. You want to be learning from your matches and you want to do really well in playoffs. And that's all that matters. Like if you win 10 regular season games or you win 8 and you squeak into playoffs, if you're the best team in playoffs, that's all that matters.
Was 100 Thieves a team, just take me through even the scrim history, like was 100 Thieves a team that had been giving Cloud9 problems recently, maybe in scrims if you had been scrimming them or even in the past, or is this just a good game plan from them in this particular game?
We haven't scrimmed them recently because like when you get close to playing a match against a team, you don't scrim them for, I think like the general rule is like 2 weeks before. And like in that time they did make roster swaps. So that definitely changes the like team dynamic that they have. But before that, we weren't really like having any problems with them.
From your vantage point, I mean, you played TSM, you beat them this weekend as well. You've seen a lot of the wonky results that have happened all weekend long. What would your opinion be on who the second best team in the LCS is right now?
It could easily be 100 Thieves. Like I think out of all the teams we played, this game felt like they were the most like cohesive team that we played against this split. And you see like TSM and TL who are kind of like considered the top teams right now, and they're like looking super shaky in their games and like they're taking wins that they like probably shouldn't, where like it's like a misclick from a Malphite Orianna combo like 40 minutes into the game that gives them the win. So I think you can easily make a case for 100 Thieves being the second best team right now.
Fascinating. Interesting. I guess that could lead into a conversation about Academy versus LCS, right? Like we've been talking about this on Rift Rewind a lot about how there are a lot of Academy players that people really should be paying attention to. And obviously 100 Thieves making changes to their roster, like you said as well. What about C9 Academy? I mean, I know one question we're going to ask is C9 Academy is a very strong team. How do you think they would do in today's LCS versus, say, some of the teams maybe in the middle of the pack or even at the bottom of the standings?
I mean, C9 Academy is a pretty strong team. I would put them probably like somewhere in the middle of the pack of LCS. Like if you just took that whole roster and put them in the LCS, I don't think they're going to compete for top of the standings, but I think that they're going to be able to take games off of the bottom teams.
My last question for you is about Worlds. Even though Cloud9 lost this week, people can safely assume or at least project that Cloud9 will have a very, very, if not extremely good chance of making Worlds this year. And one of the rumored scenarios would be that Worlds will be in a bubble. Take one city, it'll be in a bubble, you'll be locked in a hotel, very similar to what the NBA is doing right now at Disney, right?
Mhm.
So when you heard this, take me through your initial reaction as somebody on a team who very likely will participate in Worlds this year. What was your reaction to the idea that Worlds might be in a bubble this year?
Well, I mean, the first thing I heard was that Worlds might be canceled, and like that was hard to hear because like we didn't get to play at MSI, and that really sucked. And like I really want to play internationally this year with my teammates because I think we've all been working super hard for it. But like bubble format or different city format or like I really don't care what the format is as long as I'm allowed to play internationally, and like I'll play from anywhere and I'll try to win.
I'm curious only because we've seen this from other athletes that have opted not to go, whether it's safety, whether it's a family thing. Have you or your teammates had any conversations about whether or not it would even be a foregone conclusion? No, we're all going to go, or maybe there's a concern. Like, have you had any of those type of conversations?
We haven't really talked about like people not wanting to go. Like we've been talking about logistics like a little bit. Like obviously we aren't focused on Worlds right now because like we're still in the regular
Sure.
season. We got to focus on our games, then we got to focus on playoffs. Like there's a lot of steps in between. But I don't know. I'm speaking for myself, which I think is all I can do. Like I will go no matter what.
Very good. So what about the last question for you? The last half of the season, you mentioned 100 Thieves, obviously. So now we've gone through one iteration here. What do you project for the second half of the season and Cloud9's performances as all these rosters around you seem to be changing while Cloud9 remains constant?
It's always going to be really hard to call like what the second half of the split is going to look like or like what's going to happen in the future with all these teams because there's just so many moving pieces. But I mean, this loss kind of feels like very like fairly similar to the one we had against TSM last split, where like they had a good team comp for team fighting. We like played into it, played a little wrong, and we lost the game. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to continue to be dominant, but like our focus is always just going to be on playing our best game and improving as much as we can.
Licorice joining us here on ESPN Esports. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.